What's going on, guys? It's Bradley Mods here. Today I'm going to show you how to RGH an Xbox 360.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face. Tell me that you love me, even if it's fake, 'cause I don't fucking care.
So the tools you're going to need for this installation are fiberglass scratch brush or pen. What this does is it scrapes the top layer of clear coating on the motherboard that's on top of the pins. So you will need this, or if you aren't able to get one, I will show you how to make your own out of sandpaper and a pencil. I'll do it after this whole tool segment. Next, you're going to need a soldering iron. This is the American one on Amazon. This is the Canadian one. It doesn't come with the European plug, and it doesn't come with the tweezers, the solder, the tips, the sponge, the stand, and the case. But it is pretty much the same thing, just different brand. Next, you're going to need flux paste. This is for making your solder stick better to your connections after you hit them with the fiberglass scratch pen, and it keeps your solder looking cleaner after you do it. Next, you're going to need some solder. This is 60/40. You specifically need this for what we're doing. Rosin core solder is the best for electronics. Very good option. If you're buying this soldering kit, it comes with the right solder, so you don't need to get this. Next, you're going to need all the chips for RGHing your console. So Weekend Modder is probably the best American seller for these kind of things. He has pretty much everything you'll need. This is where I got my stuff. So I got an Ace V3, which is right here. It comes with wires, so that's why you don't need to buy any wires. I bought a Nand-X because you're going to need to read and write to the NAND with something. You can get a Nand-X, or you could get a JR programmer. In this case, I bought a Nand-X. It's faster, but they're pretty much the same thing. In my case, since I have a Corona V3, I need a postfix adapter, which is right here. These don't fit perfectly because they're not the original, they're just clones. It says right here. You don't need this if your traces are still on your motherboard, and I'll show you a diagram right now. So if your traces are there, you will not need this. If your traces aren't there, like they are in my case, you will. Last, you'll need an X-clamp remover tool because you need to put this into the CPU. You need to remove the heatsink enabled to do so. So that's why you need the X-clamp remover tool so you can take your heatsink off. I almost forgot. You're going to need thermal paste for when you remove your heatsink, because replacing your thermal paste after you remove your heatsink is always a good idea, because then you can reapply fresh thermal paste, and you're already taking it off, so it makes sense. I am not going to be using this thermal paste, but this is what you would get if you don't already have any. You're also going to need a set of T-star screwdrivers. In this case, there's T3, T4, T5, T6, T7, T8, and T10. If you don't feel like getting all of them, you should only get T6, T8, and T10. Those are the main ones you're going to need to take apart your console. So if you don't have a fiberglass scratch pen, what you can do is get a pencil, get a piece of sandpaper. For this one I have two, one's finer than, but you want really fine grit sandpaper. What you're going to want to do, hot glue here, take this, put it on top, and then cut it into circles so it fits properly. So now I have the sandpaper hot glued to the pencil. Okay, so mine is finished. As you can see here, it's not perfect, but the hot glue does kind of overlap the pencil a little bit, so I cut it as good as I could to the hot glue. Specifically in this case, I'm going to be RGHing a Xbox 360 Slim with a Corona V3 motherboard. So that does have this 16 megabyte NAND. And is touching the silver pins here. That means you have a 16 megabyte. If they're not touching, that means you have a 4 gigabyte. I'll put a picture on the screen to show you the differences. If your NAND is touching the pins, like these two are, that means you have a 16 megabyte NAND. So you could have a V1, a V3, or V5. We'll get into why it matters in a second. And if your NAND is not touching the pin headers, you will most likely have a V2, a V4, or a V6 Corona. In that case, you will need an SD tool to read and write to the NAND because it is separate parts and you need more wires. If you have a 16 megabyte NAND, you will need a Nand-X or JR programmer.
Resistors are missing from R2C6 and R2C7, and if you just see two pads, you're going to need to bridge them. I'll show a picture on the screen for everything I'm talking about. If they're missing, there's a very high chance you have to use a postfix adapter. The pads for R2C6 are non-existent on this motherboard, so there are alternate points you're going to have to solder to make your glitch chip work. You can see here I did do the alternate point method. I'll show a picture on the screen to show you what points you're going to need to solder to in case your R2C7 or R2C6 pads are missing.
So for R2C7, you need to solder a wire from here to here and a wire from here to here. And for R2C6, you need to solder a wire from here to here and here to here. I only needed to do R2C6, so I only did these wires, but if you had to do both, it should look something like this. The soldering points on the motherboard for a Nand-X are these ones here, so these are the points we will be installing our Nand-X to. Alright, so to find the exact points you need to solder your Nand-X wires to, you can go to Images on JRunner, go to Nand-X Slim, and then click Corona. And here you can see black wire, brown, orange, red, yellow, blue, and green. So now I'm going to install my NAND wires. I'm not going to show my soldering process because this isn't a how to solder video. This is just a tutorial on how to RGH your Xbox. So now I got my Nand-X wires installed. So now you can go over to JRunner and read your NAND and create and write your ECC file. So my dumbass forgot to record my voice for this part of the video. So you're going to want to go to Device Manager, you're going to want to see Memory Access, you're going to want to install the drivers for it. Right click, Update Driver Software, go to Browse, and go to your JRunner folder, and click on the NAND Pro Drivers folder. Click Next, and say Install this driver software anyway. Now you can see that our drivers are installed and our Nand-X is ready to go. So now you can close Device Manager, open up JRunner, and now you can see the little Nand-X part on JRunner. The connection error is normal. Now click the question mark beside NAND type, and if your wires are installed correctly, it should say your motherboard type. See, mine is a Corona and it's perfect. Now you're going to want to click Read NANDs. Make sure you put your reads to 2 because it's going to have to compare the two, and if they're both the same, then you got a solid NAND dump. I'm going to fast forward this part because it does take some time. As you can see now, it says NANDs are the same, so that means we are ready to create an ECC file and write an ECC file. It's only 50 blocks, so this part won't take long. Now you're done. Now you're ready to install your glitch chip. So as you can see, I got my postfix adapter, ACE V3 completely installed. So now that everything's installed, you're ready to boot Zell. So I forgot to record this part of the video because I had a little troubleshooting I had to do, and I got frustrated and I completely forgot about the recording. But since my console is running on dashboard and stuff, I can still boot to Zell. All I have to do is press the eject button. But at this stage, normally if you turn it on normal, it'll just boot to Zell normally. The ACE V3 usually comes pre-programmed for a Corona. For some reason, the timing file on mine caused my fan to spin up really fast and the console would never glitch. The green light, the debug light, would just stay on, but I fixed that by changing the timing file, and I can show you how to do that. So now you see the console's booting up into Zell. And this IP address right here is what you're gonna need for you to get your. So the way you can do this is plug an Ethernet cable from your Xbox into your router, and then go to your computer and put this IP address into JRunner. I also did forget to record this part too, but I'm going to show you how to do it anyway. So now, since you're booted to Zell, you're going to want to get your CPU key. So put your IP address in, and then click Get CPU Key, and it shows up right here. Next, what you're going to want to do is click Create XE Build Image, and then click Write NAND. If you're like me, and your ASV3 is not working properly, what I had to do is go to Custom NAND CR function, and click XSVF, and I had to download different timing files. So I downloaded 15432's timing files for a Corona, and I used this one. I'm not saying you have to, but if your ASV3 was like mine and it wasn't working properly, then you're going to have to change the timing file. After you've written your XE build image to your NAND, your console should boot up just fine. As you can see, I have my console half put back together. I left my NAND wires in just in case I ever have to rewrite to the NAND, in case I ever mess up or break something. So now you can try and boot your console. So it looks like one glitch, two glitches, and it looks like we got a successful boot. So on my hard drive I do have XEX menu and a couple other things already installed on it, just because I plugged my hard drive into my computer and transferred them over. So now you can see I'm gonna go on my offline profile. You do not want to sign into Xbox Live without a stealth server. You will be banned instantly. So now I go to my games, XEX menu is right there, and as you will see, XEX menu has loaded up. I'm gonna go to my modding things folder and load up Freestyle Dash. As you can see, Freestyle is loading and my console is now RGH'd. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please like. If you found this helpful, please subscribe for more modding videos and tutorials maybe in the future. We'll see. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video, and peace out.